The Road to Macstock and the Macstock Film Festival with Wally Cherwinski. This is MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free magazine on Flipboard. Updated daily with the best articles on the web to help you do more with your Apple tech and beyond, MacVoices Magazine content is available in the free Flipboard app, on the web, or in your favorite RSS reader. Visit MacVoicesMagazine.com for details. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we are still on the road to Macstock. We are headed to Woodstock, Illinois at the end of July for one of my favorite weekends of the year, and I'm sure it's one of yours if you've been there before. If it's not, come this time, and it'll become one of your favorite weekends. Macstock Conference and Expo is where you can go to sign up, find out all the information, all the lodging, the speakers, the topics, a little bit of everything. And as you know, we've been talking to the presenters who are going to be speaking at Macstock about what they're going to be talking about. So our goal here is not to have them do the presentation here now, but just to kind of whet your appetite for what they're going to be doing. This time, though, is just a little different because we have Wally Cherwinski, who has been organizing in the past and will again this year, the Macstock Film Festival. Wally, it's great to see you, and congratulations on reviving the film festival.
Hi, Chuck. Always great to be with you again, and it really is so nice to be back on the road to Macstock. So, I'm delighted that we'll be able to hold another Macstock Short Film Festival this year. We haven't done it for a couple of years. Obviously, the pandemic kind of punched a hole in things. So, just to refresh your memory, the idea is that in addition to the formal presentations from our speakers, anyone who attends Macstock this year also has a chance to show something on the big screen at Macstock. It struck me a few years back that there are so many interesting and creative folks who come to Macstock, and wouldn't it be fun to have them be part of the show too? So just think of it as a grassroots movie festival at its best. So that was the idea behind the film festival originally. The first year, we had a lot of really neat videos submitted. So many, in fact, that we had to work really hard to squeeze them into the time slot we had. But I think everyone really enjoyed it. And what I like about it is that we get to know people a little bit better through the videos that they show. And for me, I love to hear them talk about their movies, why they picked a subject, how they shot it, some of the tricks they used. And the best part is you really don't have to be a video pro to submit something. In fact, a lot of people who haven't done much video before have made some really, really nice little movies. And so I hope that anyone coming to Macstock this year will think about submitting something. And remember, they're meant to be short movies, only a minute or two. So they shouldn't be too hard to make. And I have to point out that it isn't a contest. There's no judging. It's just pure fun and entertainment and enjoyment with each other.
First of all, I thank you for bringing up the minute length because I think that makes it a lot more appealing to folks. I mean, this is not Sundance. This is not Cannes. This is the Macstock Film Festival. But you're right. I was shocked at some of the folks and what they put together, the way they did it, the simplicity. But your point about seeing into them and their lives and what interests them is a great one. Because that's exactly what happened. And I'm afraid I'm going to call somebody out, so I'm going to leave specific topics alone. But somebody did something. It's like, well, I would have never thought that somebody that's into tech enough to come to Macstock would be into that particular topic over here, but they are.
Yeah, creativity has been one of the constant themes at Macstock over the years. So this is kind of an ideal opportunity to express people's creativity. In fact, this year we'll be screening the videos in a brand new location. It's called Stage Left, and it's part of the Woodstock Opera House complex, right in the town square in Woodstock, Illinois. Now, I've been to the Opera House. I've been to the town square. I haven't actually been to Stage Left, but it sounds really interesting. I know it's a bit smaller than last year's location, but actually, I think that's a good thing because it's audience friendly. It has great sound, and I think it's just the right setting for people to get together and hang out. So again, the film festival is open to everyone. As you said, the limitation is videos should be short. In fact, no longer than about say 2.5 minutes. And the reason is we want to show as many as possible, and we don't want to bog it down with any long productions. Um, they should be something that people have put together on their Mac or their iOS device, even using older footage. They might have shot something, taken photographs weeks, even months ago. Hey, no problem. Just put it together and come. It's not a competition. There won't be awards for best director or best adapted screenplay or any of that kind of stuff. I just want everyone to have fun with it and enjoy seeing some of the creative stuff that others can make.
So let's do a little nuts and bolts here. If
Okay.
if person X, because I'm not going to say me, because then you're going to expect one from me, and that's not going to happen. Um,
Oh, but wait a minute, I do.
yeah, yeah, I was afraid you're going to say that. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't mean that.
yeah. Okay, so let's say I'm going to submit something. So how
Okay.
how do I go about doing it? What format do you want it in? Will I be submitting it to you ahead of the event, or do I bring it with me? How is that the logistics of that going to work?
Okay. Probably not a great idea to bring it with you because then we'll be scrambling at the last minute to try and to fit it into the show and make sure it's in the right place and the right length, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, in terms of the mechanism to submit, we'll talk a bit about some tips for how to actually produce a little video for this. But if you're coming to Macstock July 22nd and 23rd, and you want to express your creative side, all you have to do is go to the Macstock homepage. The URL will be in Chuck's show notes, or just go to macstockconferenceandexpo.com. There's a form there, and just fill it in. Very simple, very short. Send us a note to say, hey, I think I want to submit a video, even if you don't have one yet. Just let us know you're planning on it, and we will save you a spot. And we'll put all the videos together into kind of a playlist, and then we'll show them one by one, and people can have a little dialogue with the presenters, and it'll all be a lot of fun. So, what holds people back, I know this. There are some people who think, I haven't made a lot of videos before. I won't do a very good job. People won't like my movie. Well, don't go there because I think you'll be surprised by how much you already know about video editing and making a movie. And I've said this, I think, with you before, Chuck. If you think about it, we've all been watching TV and movies since we were kids. And all that time, our brains have been learning about how images flow together. It's inevitable. It's second nature. So if you have to edit something on your own now, you probably already have a pretty good sense of what works and what doesn't. You just have to try. And I give people this tip all the time. If you want to learn more about editing, it's very easy. Turn on your TV or your iPad and watch a drama or a documentary on PBS or something like that. And here's the trick: turn off the sound. And when you do that, all of a sudden, you won't be distracted by the music, the sound effects, the narration, none of that. All you will focus on is the visuals, and you'll see how images flow together and how that editor put together that movie. It's really interesting. So, of course, editing is one part, but for anyone who wants to make a movie, you'll need to get some good footage too. So, I'll offer a couple of simple suggestions. First, pick a subject that really interests you because then you'll be engaged in it. And shoot lots of clips, even if a lot of them aren't particularly good when you look at them later. Doesn't matter. Throw them away. Save the best ones. And finally, add as much variety as possible to your shots. So by shooting lots, you give yourself plenty of options to pick from when you begin editing. And that's really important. Variety. That'll make your footage more interesting to your audience. And what I mean by variety is try not to make all your shots look similar. In other words, shoot them at chest height at medium distance. That's the perspective our eyes are used to seeing most of the time. So give your audience something a bit different. Move closer or farther away from your subject. Change your angle, shoot from the left or the right, above or below, just anything to change the variety of your shots and focus on different parts or different aspects of your subject. So in a nutshell, with a lot of shots and a little bit of seat of the pants editing, you can do a great job.
Okay, and I'm going to do a plug for you because if you want even more ideas and guidance from Wally, he does have a book called Video to Go, and it still remains one of my favorite books for to point people to and say, look, you don't have to go to film school. You can have a lot of fun doing something just with your iPhone. Now we've got these phenomenal cameras on the iPhone and iPad. And so Wally, instead of going into the geeky part, Wally helps you think like maybe someone who is a little more experienced in filmmaking. And I absolutely love that guide, Wally. So, if people want to take it maybe not a little more seriously, but if they find that through the participation in the contest, they want to try to kick their game up or take it to the next level, that's a great way to go.
Well, I appreciate the comment, Chuck, and I must confess, I wrote that book in, I think, 2018, and so much has happened since 2018 that it is out of date. I mean, a lot of the practical tips about shooting and editing are still valid, and a lot of the observations by other filmmakers are in there too, the quotes. But there's a lot that's changed so much. And in fact, that's a reflection just on technology in general. From year to year, it turns things on its head. For example, back then, I wrote a section on different add-on lenses that you could add to your iPhone, because at the time, there were limitations in the lenses that iPhones had. You look at the current iPhone 14, well, there's a 3 times, there's a 2 times, there's a normal, there's a super wide. It's just amazing. Plus, some of the video features built into the new iPhones just make things so much easier. So, yeah, I wish I had the time to update that book and bring it up to date, and I am doing it. It's just taking me longer than I thought. So we'll see.
Honestly, I'd forgotten about that part because you're right. You do, obviously, you're right. You cover some of those things. But I guess, and maybe that's my bias, that, I was looking more at just, okay, how does Wally think about filmmaking from the angles and, the setup of the shots and all? That's the thing that I took away from the book more than some of the hardware tips, because now that you say that, you're right. That stuff does seem to change with every iPhone iteration and may change again with the next one. But the thinking part never changes.
That's true. If the rumors are right, and we have a a zoom capability built into the iPhone 15, 15 Plus, Max, whatever it is. There's another wrinkle that all of a sudden changes the game again.
Yeah. Wally, one other thing, you may have alluded to it earlier, but you said, you can take footage you've shot maybe before. How do you feel about incorporating stills into your project?
Actually, I think it's an excellent idea. You can, just by using stills, and I think it's probably built into the Photos app, you can animate your stills. You can add Ken Burns motion. I mean, most people, I think, know what Ken Burns is motion is, but it's a way of doing camera movements on a still frame and making it look like it's animated. I mean, when it first came out, Ken Burns, he made a documentary series on the Civil War, and it was and another one on baseball, and it was a multi-part series. Every one was about an hour, and there were many of them. And when you think about it, doing a documentary on the Civil War, there wasn't a lot of video footage taken during the Civil War. So we had to use whatever tricks he could come up with. And one of those was the Ken Burns effect, where he took still photos taken during that era and in effect animated by doing camera movements on them. So slow zooms, slow fades, pans left to right, tilts up and down, all kinds of stuff like that. Well, we can do the same thing now just as easily in, I think, Photos, iMovie, Final Cut Pro. So it's so much nicer than just showing a static slideshow where slides change one after another. Well, now you can dissolve them one into the next. You can do slow camera movements. You can add some music to it. So I think that's an excellent idea for coming up with a very simple video. So, for example, if you're a gardener, and over the years, and I am, and I've done this, I've taken photos of flowers that I've grown or plants that I've nursed or things like that. And over the years, I've taken a lot. I've taken photos and even video of birds that have come to my garden, or squirrels, or animals, or pileated woodpeckers, all sorts of things that come into the garden. I even had a turkey, a wild turkey, fly into my garden and plop into my pond. Anyway, all of that stuff, I've taken those still photos of flowers and plants and changing seasons in my garden, and I've done an animated slideshow with music, and it's wonderful. It brings back a lot of nice memories.
I'll throw in one other Apple program that is sitting on your machine right now that you can use, and that's Keynote. It's not,
Keynote.
It's not necessarily going to be able to do the camera movements while he's talking about, but the transitions between things, there's some phenomenal things in there. And actually there's some ways you can work around it and do, if you cheat just a little bit, do some of those camera movements. And, and honestly, I don't know about you, Wally, but for me, it's fun to take one of those things and do some of those projects, and you start to learn even more about what the program can do for its quote unquote normal uses when you stretch it a little bit and try to be creative with it.
That's an excellent suggestion, Chuck. A Keynote. And in fact, here's my little secret. I actually use Keynote for a lot of the graphics that I have to do. It's like a very simple Mac Paint, or those old programs that were so simple to use that nowadays they've gotten more features, they've gotten more complex, and I don't even scratch the surface of what they can do. But Keynote still does things in a simple way, and I kind of like that. So yeah, Keynote is really versatile. And here's another idea: whether it's stills or video, I think you can use both. If people think they might want to submit a video and they're not quite sure where to start, try this. Try the trailers feature in iMovie. And if that's something you haven't used yet, you really have to do it. It is so much fun. And you will end up very easily with a slick, a professional looking video. It'll be around a minute and a half or so. And it'll be just like those movie trailers you see at the theater or in YouTube or wherever. And to do it, you work with templates, and iMovie gives you lots of them. They're built right in. You just pick one, and it'll automatically provide you with different music and transitions and special effects, all the stuff you need to make your videos pop. All you have to do is stick in your own video clips right into the placeholders. You add a title, a little bit of text maybe, and prepare to amaze your friends. Highly recommended. Trailers feature, iMovie, really fun. I use it all the time.
Again, Wally, it's a tribute to what Apple's done, because you and I, whenever we get together, we start talking Final Cut, and you don't have to be a Final Cut person. You can go into iMovie and still do some amazing things. And iMovie sort of upped its game along the way quietly. It doesn't get as much attention as it probably should. But yeah, the trailers feature is a perfect example of how to put something together and to get started. And you may say this really isn't for me, or you may be the gateway drug to something that is a whole lot more intense and a lot more time consuming. And I mean that in a very positive way, because you see an effect, or you see something on, as you said, Wally, TV, and say, I wonder how they did that. And then you can go and find out how they did it and do it for yourself.
Yeah, well said, Chuck. Well said. And these days, of course, we're not limited to our Macs or our laptops. All of a sudden, we've got video editing on our iPads, even our iPhones, and you can do really clever things. So, I mean, sky's the limit these days. It's a wonderful time we live in if you enjoy visual creativity, whether it's photos or slideshows or movies or anything else. We've got all the tools, and we're getting new ones all the time.
Well, I hope this conversation has inspired or encouraged some people to say, hey, I'm going to step outside my comfort zone and take a shot at it and see what happens. Because you're right. No one's going to look at it and say, boy, that was dumb. They're going to look at it and say, well, okay, didn't know that about you. Didn't know that about what you were interested in. And again, it's just one more opportunity to be part of Macstock and to improve yourself. And of course, this year with Mike's theme of learn, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I know in the past, you talked about how people submit. Well, there is a place where they can upload and post their videos when it's time, and I will download them from there and put them into actually a Keynote deck that puts them all in order and organizes everything. And I know from the past, when I receive one of those videos to add into the show, it's like opening presents on Christmas morning. I can't wait to see what someone's come up with and how they've treated their subject and what media they've used. It's really fun.
And it's fun to be there and let as you screen them, because you never know what's coming up next. It might be, as you said, static photos. It might be video, might be somebody narrating something, or just, music only in the background. They're just, the options are almost endless. So,
the old cliche, when we were younger, people would show us, or you'd go to somebody's house and they would show you slides from their vacation or slides of their wedding and photos, and it would go on and on and on and on. And the cliche was, you don't want to be stuck in a situation like that and have to endure them. Well, back then, and even now, I don't mind that at all, because it's sort of the same as the short film festival. It gives you a sense for what those people are like and what they have on their mind and how they express themselves. And actually, it's not an imposition to me. I actually enjoy people sharing some of themselves with us.
This may be a stretch. You may not agree with this, but if you are active on social media and you share any of the photos of your life or what you're interested in or whatever, you're already sort of doing that now. You just need to string them together and send them to Wally to show at Macstock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting.
So Wally, again, I'm looking forward to it. I'm so glad that Macstock is back to something like what we've done in the past, and we don't have the restrictions we've had the past couple of years. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you and Wendy and all our friends, even the ones we haven't met yet. That's one of the best parts of Macstock.
And of course, this year we also have the option of attending the Midwest Mac Barbecue. It would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Come out a day or so early and enjoy that, and then stay for Macstock.
Mm-hmm. So I'm actually looking forward to the new venue in Woodstock. Woodstock is a really neat place, and if anyone hasn't seen the movie Groundhog Day, here's your chance. It's a Bill Murray movie, and it was shot in Woodstock with a lot of scenes and a lot of locations that you will recognize when you get to Woodstock. So, yeah.
If memory serves, I think there are even a couple of plaques, placed in the ground where certain things were shot or happened. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's.
I think certainly that opera house does appear in the movie where we will have Macstock this year. So, yeah, that'll be fun.
So that really fits in well with the whole theme of a short movie film festival.
There you go.
Wally, if folks, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if folks want to reach out to you, I will have links in the show notes to Wally's YouTube page. But if they want to reach out to you, what are the best ways to do it? Are you still on Twitter or on social media?
Well, Twitter is going through strange times, isn't it? So, we're all on Mastodon and Twitter, but irregularly. I think the best way is just if you want to enter or you want to submit a video or you want to get a hold of me, just grab onto that page at the Macstock homepage, and you can reach me through there and let me know that you have something in mind, or even if you have a question about how to go about it, or want some advice, if I can provide it for how to put together a video. I'm always delighted to talk with people. Send me an email. Happy to do it.
Great. Wally, thanks so much for the time. Thanks for doing the film festival in advance of you doing it. I hope that we get a lot of entries, because I'm with you. I love to see what people come up with.
Yeah, can't wait. We'll see everyone in July.
Sounds good. Folks, Wally will be there. I will be there. We hope you and your short film will be there. Again, Macstock Conference and Expo.com is where you go to submit your films, to sign up. Or if you're brand new to the whole concept, just find out what all is going to be happening, because we're going to have a ball. We want you there. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.